the Nonprofit Podcast, powered by DonorBox.
Nonprofits often struggle to measure and communicate their impact in a way that really resonates with donors. Do you wrestle with that too? Welcome to the Nonprofit Podcast. I'm Cara, fundraising coach at DonorBox. We're here each week with practical actions you can use today to increase donations and take your nonprofit to the next level tomorrow. Your nonprofit's annual report is a powerful tool to inspire giving and strengthen relationships with existing and potential donors. I know we're in the middle of a busy giving season, but many successful nonprofits use this time to prep and prepare an annual report to take this year's momentum into the next. Today, we make it easy for you. Fundraising expert Chad Barger joins us today on the Nonprofit Podcast. Chad is chief trainer and coach with his firm Productive Fundraising and has helped many nonprofits design an annual report that donors actually want to read. Welcome, Chad.
Hey, Cara. It's great to be here.
Well, Chad, you spend significant time teaching nonprofit staff and boards to be more productive fundraisers. And I know you have some really innovative ideas around annual reports that are impactful for donors, but not too tough on those nonprofit teams. So I'm really eager to learn more.
Right. Yeah. I find that we just tend to overthink the annual report. Either we try to get everything in the world into it, or we're just still sending the same annual report that we sent 20 years ago. It hasn't changed. So I find when folks are open to really focusing on what their donors actually are looking for and being receptive to, well, maybe we don't have to include that thing we've had every year, it can really make the whole process a lot simpler, easier, more affordable, and they're happy, donors are happy. And so that's really my goal, is just to get people to think a little more out of the box that way.
That sounds like something everybody wants to do. So let's get into annual reports. Experts say annual reports can really build donor trust and loyalty, yet nonprofits sometimes let the annual reports slip right through the cracks. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I definitely agree, especially that trust factor. So often I work with groups and, someone makes a donation, they immediately send the gift acknowledgement letter and they kind of think they're done. They say, well, yeah, we got them their receipt, we're good. Now we can solicit again. And I'd like to say, let's hold on. The gift acknowledgement letter says what you're going to do with their dollars. So an annual report is one of the many tools we have to kind of close that loop. Say, yes, you supported us. We're so grateful. Here is what we did with those dollars in service to our community or beneficiaries. So closing that loop, that tells the donor, oh, wow, they actually got back to me and showed me what they did with my money. I can trust them. Kind of builds from there.
Yeah, trust is really built on transparency, and then loyalty follows when donors can see that tangible impact of their contributions, the mission in motion. Okay, so for those nonprofit professionals looking to create annual reports or integrate annual reports into their overall communication strategy, what are some strategies that you're seeing right now that are really working?
Yeah, I have shifted the focus here in really working with donors. What do donors want to see rather than what do nonprofit professionals want to tell them? And I've had multiple conversations with donors over the years. It's usually I'm attending a gala or some event for one of my clients, and I'm sitting at a random table, and they say, what do you do? And I say, well, I'm a fundraising coach, and I teach nonprofits how to fundraise better. And they say, oh, well, let me tell you what I don't like. All the time.
Love that.
And several times that it's come up, they say, they send this annual report, they spend all this time putting together and all this money to print, and I don't really want to take the time to read it, but I do because I feel guilty just throwing it out. So they don't want your 20-page annual report with your 2-page letter from your executive director and your 10 pages of donor lists. Most of them will say they don't even really care if their name is listed. Now, there are certainly some exceptions, maybe corporate, some other groups, but the 20 pages of donor names that higher education institutions used to do, no, those days are over. So what I'm really seeing is simplified. And what do they want to see? Stories. They want those stories. If we can treat our annual report as a collection of stories, and they don't all have to be new stories, our 10 best stories from the year that we used in our newsletter, our appeals, other things, really just showcasing the impact that their support has had. So stories, not statistics. we got to get the, maybe the tiny little pie chart in there with, expenses and income, but that's not what we lead with. We lead with those stories.
Excellent advice, for sure. So annual reports, they're overwhelming. Staffs are stretched thin anyway. For listeners who are just starting out, or maybe it's one more thing to do, how can nonprofits simplify their reports and then still hold on to the stories, the vital information that needs to be in there?
But when you really focus on the fact that I don't have to tell my organizations everything in this, I'm featuring what we've done, almost like a best hits of the year, not every single thing, but best hits, and featuring these stories, giant infographic with everything. We get to kind of creative other ways. I see a lot of 4-page annual reports. It's much shorter. I've seen 1-page annual reports, and I really love an annual report jumbo postcard.
Oh, yeah.
You can get 2 stories on there and still have your little pie charts, and it's fine. Donors are happy. And we can send them to our website for more information. Like maybe there's our full donor list and, additional impact, and you can get our 990, and it's our impact reporting area of the website. They don't all have to all get it. Let's not make them feel guilty for pitching that annual report. So I love it. And just yesterday, I saw for the first time a annual report bookmark. So everything is on a bookmark. So
what?
Yes, I couldn't believe it either. But one of my clients did it, and they're including that as an insert with their end of year appeal.
Oh, those are some affordable ideas that aren't going to take a lot of time to deploy. Simple, focused, donor-centric. Oh my gosh, great ideas. So Chad, you referenced the website a little bit. In today's digital age, technology is a game changer. How can nonprofits leverage technology or multimedia and enhance the annual report that they're creating?
It's definitely a tool, and something that I definitely see kind of overlooked. When I think, when we get past the 20-page booklet, tons of opportunities open up. So we can look at, I've seen a video annual report, and this isn't some polished thing that we spend $5,000 to have a firm produce. It's a talking head. We walk around with these high-definition video cameras and our smartphones all the time. Maybe the executive director is greeting folks and says what a great year it's been and through their impact. And then we go into like a photo carousel that we're just kind of scrolling through, showing the impact, not just telling, but lets us show. So it's a great tool. I think annual reports should be more visual than statistical. So that means those photos. So taking those photos will round about with the program. So we have this huge folder to pick through when we get to the end of the year is a key thing.
So we've done all the work. We've created the annual report. We've mailed them off, or we've distributed them through email. Any other suggestions on how to maximize the effort we put into creating it?
Yeah, I love to personalize this. This is a tip I give to major gifts officers all the time, but I think it can be used by anybody. And it's especially beneficial in small shops. So we send stuff out. They get stuff in their postal mailboxes. They get tons of emails from us. And our annual report kind of just looks like one more thing. Maybe it goes on our reading pile instead of just going, right into the trash can. I like to call their attention to it and doing that personally. So sending an email to, some of our major donors, the donors we know personally. Doesn't even have to be major donors, but, anybody we've met with in the last year. Quick little one-off email that says, hi, Cara, it's Chad from ABC Nonprofit. Thanks again for your support and meeting with me this year. We just released our annual report. You should have received it in your mailbox, but I've attached it here. I really want you to see it, see what your support has done. I think you'll really like the story about Jesse on page 4. Hope to see you soon. So now we've taken that, and it's not just one more thing. Somebody's actually taken the time to think about me. What program do I care about at your organization? And you're showing it to me directly. So now we've just gotten an extra touch point out of this, and it's a personal one, which accounts for so much more. So, not just let's go through the process, get it done, and then move on. After the month or two after our annual report, how can we kind of customize and draw attention to it and get some additional support for our programs through it, and also deepen those donor relationships at the same time?
Yeah, you've already done all the work. Definitely maximize it. Last question, Chad. It's a busy time of year. Why should a nonprofit consider starting on annual reports now?
Yeah. So, you're just wrapped up fall events. We got to do our end of calendar year appeal. We have to do all the emails to follow up on that. There's a lot to do. But I find for most groups, that's fairly well taken care of by about Thanksgiving time. And during that process, we've done a lot of reflecting. What story are we going to feature for the end of calendar year appeal? What we've gone through photos to look for things. So while we're doing that process, I like to encourage groups to also just flag things that might be good for the annual report rather than have to go through everything twice. And, the process of picking what the content is, it's kind of fun because especially if you treat it as your best of take for the year, these are great memories, all the good things we did. So it's kind of a nice, reflective, end of year, holiday season activity. But when we wait until January, and then we're exhausted from getting out all of those gift acknowledgments, and then we kind of have put everything away for a month, so it's starting to stretch. I just find you don't have to have it all together, but let's pull together that content in December and kind of make it more of an enjoyable process. It's reflective and just really remember the great things we've done in our community.
Yeah, year end is really a natural point for reflection on accomplishments, milestones, challenges. That's really great advice. Annual reports really are not just one more thing to do. They can really be an effective tool to engage donors, show some impact, and actually raise more money. So thank you, Chad, for taking the time to join the Nonprofit Podcast today.
Sure thing, Cara. Really appreciate it.
And Chad, I am delighted to share that you are going to help our DonorBox team take the conversation about annual reports a little deeper. We have got a treat for you. Chad is joining our DonorBox team for a live webinar all about annual reports in just a few days, and that will be a great time to learn more and get a chance to ask some questions that might be on your mind. So if you'd like to join, just jump right down to the show notes. There's a link waiting for you to register for the webinar. It's on December 13th, and if you're catching this episode after that date, you can find the recording at DonorBox's channel on YouTube. And as we wrap up today, I really want to say thank you for choosing to spend your time with the Nonprofit Podcast. I hope you've left with the confidence to take a small step today that will make a big difference tomorrow. Be sure to click the download button on your podcast player, then leave the Nonprofit Podcast a review or give it a thumbs up if you're listening to the Nonprofit Podcast on YouTube. Your review really is a great way to help others find us. You're here to help others. We're here to help you. So until next time, stay inspired.
That warm feeling when you help someone, it's not just happiness, it's fulfillment. And we believe it should be available to everyone, from frontline heroes to first-time fundraisers. Our tools empower you to help others. This is our mission. This is DonorBox, helping you help others.